Friends, hello and welcome to my YouTube channel Tech Guru Speaks. Today I would like to describe one of the core interfaces of the Java collections framework, and it is called the queue interface. Java.util.queue interface basically contains multiple elements prior to processing. So its signature is as follows: public interface queue. It supports generics, extends collection. So collection is the parent of all the interfaces in the collections framework. So it is basically the super interface from which we are actually getting set, list and queue. So in that sense, queue is a sub interface of the collection interface. So some of the useful subclasses of queue interface are array-dq, linked list and priority queue. So since queue is an interface, it doesn't have any object, it can have references for its. So for demonstrating the concept of queue, I will take a concrete subclass of the queue interface. So for that reason, I will be taking here array-dq. Now the thing is that queues uh, order elements in a FIFO manner. That means first in, first out. The element that is inserted in the queue first will be the first element to be removed as well. So that is why it is called FIFO, that is first in, first out. Now, besides supporting basic collection operations, queues also provide additional insertion, deletion and inspection operations. Now each of these operations like insertion, deletion and inspection fall into two different categories. Like methods such as add, remove and element will throw an exception if the operation fails, whereas methods like offer, poll and pick returns a special value which is either null or false depending on the operation that we are going to perform. So that is the idea. So add, remove and an element method for insertion, deletion and inspection respectively, and it will throw an exception if the operation fails. Now for insertion, deletion and inspection, we can also have offer, poll and pick methods that will return a special value depending on the operation. So it may be either null or false. So in that way they can have two different categories in terms of insertion, deletion and inspection. For insertion we can have either add or offer, or for deletion we can have remove or poll, and for inspection we can have element or pick methods. Okay, so that is the basic category of methods with respect to queue interfaces that we can operate on the queues. Now as I have told it before, so we need some concrete class to demonstrate the concept of queue. So without creating a concrete class we won't be able to create objects. So that is why I need some uh, concrete subclass of the queue interface. So that is the reason we have selected here array-dq, but we could have used priority queue as well. So if I am looking at the signature of the array-dq, it is like public class array-dq supports the concept of generics, extends abstract collection which is basically a class, and implements dq which is basically a sub interface of the queue interface, clonable and serializable. So that means array-dq is basically a resizable array implementation of the dq interface, and dq is basically a sub interface of the queue interface. Array dqs have no capacity restrictions, they grow as necessary to support usage. So that is the basic idea that can we do with respect to array-dq class in terms of its object creation. So that is the basic idea. Now for demonstrating different operations on the queue interface in terms of the array-dq class objects, we are actually using Apache NetBeans IDE 12.1. So Apache NetBeans is basically one of the most popular IDEs for Java program development. So I'll use that ID for the program demonstration. So now I'm moving to the program demonstration part in terms of Apache NetBeans. So first I'll create my class here. Suppose the name of the class is basically Q demo. So this is the name of the class that I am going to create here. So first I will be removing the unnecessary comment part because it's a demo program and it is not required at all. So that is why I am removing the unnecessary comment part. But if it is required, I will be also adding the comments as and when required. So now first I will be trying to create the reference of the Q interface. So basically it is working on integers, say for example. So it is the having the reference called Q. So now I am going to create an object of the array_dq class because I have told you. So I am using here diamond operator because it is implicit here. You don't have to mention integer again in here. So instead you can use the diamond operator. So that I have done here. So now I am going to show you the present status of the queue. So it will show you the present status of the queue and its size as well. So that means how many elements are there in the queue. It will also show you by calling the method called size. So it is like queue dot size, that is a method. Now I am going to call here. So if I am just trying to run the program for the first time, it will show you the correct corresponding queue here. So it is basically empty at the beginning, that you can understand. So now I am going to, so basically it should be written like this so that you can understand. I have modified the program here, so it should be like this. So it is showing the empty queue here. Initially I forgot to add this line, so now I have modified this statement, so now it's correct. So now I am going to add some elements here. Suppose for example I would like to add here, say 5 elements. So it will be, say for example 50. So 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. So now I am going to use here the add method. So just add I. So it will be automatically be adding as the loop runs for each of the iteration of the loop. It will be showing the elements to be added. If I am adding these lines here, so basically I am trying to add this line which will show you the present status of the queue as well as its size. So now you can see it here. So it will show you the present status of the queue and the size. That means how many elements are there in the queue presently. Now I am going to use here different methods. Say for example, now I am going to use here the method called, say, add all. So now I will be actually adding here a list. Say for example, I am using here the arrays class dot as list method. So arrays class, so it should be imported here because it was not added before, dot as list. So you can see it here. So just for your information, I would like to show you the, so as list. So basically it's a static method that you can see. So here within this method I can write here, say suppose some elements, like I can pass here an array here. So 70, 80, 90 I can add here. So it will be added here onto this queue. So initially I was having 10 to 50, that you can see here. Now 70, 80 and 90 they will be added. Okay, so that is the idea. Now I am also adding another element by using this method called, say for example, offer. So now I am going to use here the method called offer. So public abstract boolean offer. So basically inserts the specified element into this queue if it is possible to do so immediately without violating capacity restrictions. Okay, so now suppose I am going to add here, so suppose I am adding here 100. So it is now added here. So at the same time we would like to see the present status of the queue after performing two operations here, like add all and the offer methods are applied onto the queue. Now we would like to check the present status. So first I need to save the program. So then I will be running the program for demonstration. So it will be showing you the present status. So earlier it was showing 10 to 50. Now it is adding 70, 80, 90 as a call to the add all method. So we are actually passing this array as a list here. So now we are also adding 100 here. So by using this offer method, you can see that this particular offer method will be adding 100 here. Okay, now we are going to basically use the method called, say for example, element. So I would like to also show you one thing. If I write here offer, you can see that it is basically actually having some kind of exceptions being attached, so that I have already told. Okay, so now I am going to use here another method that is called, say for example, it is basically called element. So queue dot element. So it is also throwing some exception that you can see here. It retrieves but doesn't remove the head of this queue, that is a front element, that you can understand here. So now I need to show here the front element. So it is basically showing the front element. Okay, so front element, so it will be actually stored in this variable, integer type variable called item. So the value that is returned by element method will be stored in this variable. So it is now showing this thing in terms of this SOP, that is system.out.println. At the same time, I would like to show you the use of this method called pick. So queue.pick, that can also be used here. So it is not creating any exception, that I have already told. There are two categories of insertion, deletion and inspection methods. The first category will create exception, the second category will not create any exception, that I have already told. So if I am using this method, so I can get this value as well. So just I am just showing here the value. Okay, so front element by using element method and by using pick method, that you can understand here. So now I am going to run this program. So it will be referring to the first element, that is a front element, which is at the head of the array DQ, so that you can understand here. So now I am going to perform some more operations onto it. Suppose we are going to call the remove method here. So queue.remove. So just to show you the method remove, it is basically associated with some exception. So I am just going to use this method. So I have told you, like say methods like offer, element, remove, all these will actually associated with some kind of exception. So now I am going to show you the element which has been removed. So just to show you that particular thing, so just I'll be adding this line within the SOP here. So element removed, so it will be shown by this variable called, I mean to say the int type variable called item. So now I am also using here these two lines to show you the present status of the queue in terms of its current configuration. So just to show you, I will be running this program. So it will be showing you the thing, that is, so the element removed, that is actually 10. Okay, so that you can see here. So as a result, so the first element now will become 20, because the first element gets removed here. Now the size becomes 8, earlier it was 9, that you can understand from the output. Now I am going to use here the particular method that is called two array method that will be used here. So that method has been used earlier in terms of array list or say for example vector. Now I am going to use this method one more time for the say queue object, that means the array dq object. So two array is the method name. So now I'll be using the, so it will be showing you the queue elements here, so that you can see here. So basically I am using here the, so it will be showing you the individual element that will be picked one by one, that means from beginning to the end. So just in this program I am actually using system.out.print instead of using system.out.println. So that will be used here. So now it has been added here. Okay, now I will try to run this program. So just I am trying to run this program. So it will show you the elements being accessed from the beginning to the end, that you can see here from this particular technique that I have applied here. So first I have used the two array method, which I also applied with respect to vector and array list. So now using an enhanced for loop I will be able to access all the elements from the beginning to the end. Now I am going to show you another method that is called poll. So if I am using this method called poll, so it is showing that it retrieves and removes the head of the queue, that means the element which is placed at the head of this queue, and returns null if this queue is empty. So I'm just trying to access this element, and so that I can remove it and retrieve it also. So that is why I was talking about the term accessing. So just I would like to show you the present status as well. So just I would like to use it here. So now I am going to run this program after applying this poll method onto this queue. So it will be showing you the present status. So basically this is the present scenario after considering this particular set of statements being executed. So 20 is the element placed at the front. So if I call this method called poll, so it will basically remove the element. So 20 will be removed here. So it will show the present status of the queue configuration, that means array dq object configuration. So it is now having 7 elements, so that will be shown here. Now I am going to use, say for example, this particular method called clear. So it will clear all the elements from this particular queue. So if I now call this or write this SOPs here, so it will show you that there is no element in this queue, and the size is also basically 0. So that is shown over here. So if I call this clear method, so it will clear all the elements present in the queue. So that will be done here. So it is showing an empty queue, and by calling the size method it will be showing 0. That means there is no more element present in the queue. So these are the basic set of operations, that means addition, insertion, addition or insertion I would like to say, deletion or inspection operation that I have performed here. So all these operations have been applied on this array dq object. So I hope that you have understood the basic operations that I have applied on this object, which is pointed by this reference. So since it's an implementing class, I have been using this one for creation of objects, and I could be able to apply all these methods onto it. So that is the reason I have selected array dq, but I could have used here priority queue as well. So that is the main reason for selecting array dq, which is one of the subclasses of the queue interface. Okay. So it is basically coming from the queue interface. So from queue we are getting DQ. Now from DQ we are actually getting array DQ. Okay, so that is the idea. So I hope that you have understood the basic operations on queue interfaces in terms of creating the array DQ object. So if you like this video, then I'll be request you to subscribe to my YouTube channel. So your support will give me actually the inspiration to create more videos, and it will also give me a chance to grow, so that we can, I mean to say, in future I can create more videos for you that will be helpful for your career development. And this is my website, techguruspeaks.com. you will get lots of useful information here, and this is my email ID. So thank you very much for your patient watching, and have a nice day. Thanks for watching this video.